Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be discussing the Chinese action fantasy film Water Monster, Monkey. Spoiler ahead. Watch out and take care. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Shui Sheng, who went fishing with his dad at the river. While they were there, Shui Sheng felt like someone was calling his name, which scared him a lot. He got really nervous, so he asked his dad if they could go home. But his dad didn't hear him and kept fishing in the water. After a while, Shui Sheng's dad came back to the boat without any fish. Suddenly, Shui Sheng saw a big monster in the water and pointed it out to his dad. Scared, his dad quickly got back into the boat. But then, the monster attacked from underneath, and the boat flipped over. The scary creature wrapped its tail around Shui Sheng's father and hurt him badly. Sadly, his dad didn't make it, and the monster took him underwater, leaving behind a lot of blood in the river. After the terrifying encounter with the monster, Shui Sheng miraculously survives. The story then fast forwards by 10 years, showing Shui Sheng as a grown-up living in his village alongside 40 to 50 other villagers. Among them is an elderly man known as Uncle, who is highly regarded for his seriousness and knowledge of the monster's existence. He has been recounting tales of the creature and other monstrous stories to the villagers for many years. In this village, there is a girl named Lan, who resides with her father and younger brother. She is well liked by everyone, particularly Shui Sheng, who has developed feelings for her over time. However, Shui Sheng is apprehensive about Lan's father, who sternly warns him to keep his distance from his daughter. During a seemingly peaceful moment, a man rushes into the village, bringing alarming news of a dead body found on the river bank. As they reach the river bank, they are confronted with the horrifying sight of the badly mutilated body, missing its head. The uncle expresses his fear, believing that this gruesome act was the doing of the feared god of water, a highly dangerous entity that has returned and will continue to kill the villagers one by one. In response, the village chief implores the uncle to provide a solution to appease the malevolent entity and bring about peace. The uncle solemnly suggests that to calm the water god, they may have to make a sacrifice. At that moment, Lan's father arrives at the scene, visibly upset by the uncle's proposition. He firmly disagrees with the idea, asserting that the entity is not a god but a water monster, a devilish creature with no divine attributes. This perspective confuses Shui Sheng, prompting him to distance himself from the situation. Along the way, he encounters Lan's younger brother, who is playing near the river. Shui Sheng approaches Lan's younger brother playing by the river and advises him to return home, cautioning him about the danger. He then seeks out Lan and informs her about the perilous water monster that has arrived and its man-eating nature. He pleads with her not to go near the river to ensure her safety. Later that night, the villagers are filled with anxiety as Lan's brother remains missing. They conduct a thorough search throughout the village, but tragically, Lan's father discovers his lifeless body by the river. The heartbreaking scene leaves him in tears. Afterwards, the uncle warns them about the dangerous water monster, insisting they need to sacrifice someone to save their lives. The next day, all the villagers worship an animal's head and a fish. Shui Sheng sat at a distance with his cousin, observing everything that was happening. However, he remained unaware of the situation and its gravity. Suddenly, Lan's father appeared on the scene, expressing his anger by breaking things with force, including the items set up for the ritual. He seemed to reject the beliefs of gods and sacrifices, causing fear among the villagers, especially the uncle. The uncle tried to calm Lan's father, explaining that opposing their customs could put the whole village in danger. However, Lan's father had no faith in these rituals and traditions. While the uncle and the village chief were conversing, they heard commotion from the people by the river bank. Rushing to the scene, they witnessed Lan's father throwing bombs into the water in an attempt to kill the monster. The villagers intervened, yelling at him to stop and insisting that he should come out of the water immediately. Lan's father remained unyielding despite the villagers' efforts to stop him. His anger escalated, and he lashed out at them, causing the villagers to apprehend and tie him to a pole for everyone's safety. Shui Sheng approached him, admiring his bravery but trying to reason with him that fighting the monster alone was too dangerous. However, Lan's father, consumed by anger, dismissed Shui Sheng and sent him away. As the night grew darker, movement in the water revealed the emergence of the water monster. It approached Lan's father, who saw the creature approaching. The horrifying monster called his name and then violently attacked, grabbing his face with its terrifying hands and devouring his head entirely. The next morning, Lan brought food for her father, only to be shocked and devastated to find him in a dreadful state, without a head. Overwhelmed with grief, she trembled and burst into tears. After the tragic incident, the villagers gather, and the uncle suggests sacrificing Lan to appease the water monster. Shui Sheng and his friends strongly oppose this idea, trying to prevent Lan from being sacrificed. However, Lan surprises everyone by stepping forward and accepting the sacrificial role willingly. Shui Sheng is deeply upset by her decision and implores her not to do something so dangerous. Lan calmly explains that she wants to understand the truth behind the creature and what it really is. Shui Sheng, however, firmly argues that the entity is not a god but a monstrous devil. He expresses his frustration with the uncle's misguided beliefs, accusing him of manipulating the villagers and endangering innocent lives. Amidst the tense situation, the villagers take Shui Sheng away. Later that night, Shui Sheng seeks out Lan and pleads with her to reconsider her decision. Shui Sheng suggests to Lan that they should run away together to a place where the monster cannot reach them. However, Lan refuses, expressing her determination to seek revenge for her father's death. Shui Sheng, deeply affected by her resolve, decides to take matters into his own hands. He opens a box containing a weapon passed down from his father and begins rigorous training to fight and kill the monster. He also sets traps in his house with the help of his friend. Realizing he needs more support, Shui Sheng seeks help from another companion to gather people for their mission to fight and defeat the monster. Shui Sheng's companion introduces him to a group of friends who are willing to join him in his quest. As the villagers gather by the river bank for the sacrificial ceremony, they prepare to send Lan across the river on a boat with a knife, ready to confront the monster. Shui Sheng arrives with his companions and addresses the villagers once more, passionately arguing that the creature is not a god deserving of sacrifice but a malevolent devil that needs to be fought. He shares that the same monster had taken his father's life and caused harm to many others in the village. Shui Sheng implores the villagers to think wisely and stand united in their support so they can face the monster together and defeat it. While the villagers listen silently, only a few boys step forward, showing their willingness to support Shui Sheng against the water monster. After coming together, the group devises a plan to capture the water monster. Shui Sheng decides to use pieces of flesh as bait to lure the creature. He instructs everyone to stay vigilant and keep their eyes on the water, ready to pull the chain immediately if they detect any movement. As they anxiously wait, they suddenly sense a disturbance in the water. Shui Sheng's companion swiftly starts pulling up the chain, and Shui Sheng joins in to help. However, to their dismay, they find that the meat is missing from the chain, indicating that the monster has indeed come. One of Shui Sheng's companions proposes to go into the water and check whether the monster is truly present or not. Despite Shui Sheng's objections, the companion disregards his advice and decides to investigate the water. After the companion returns from the water and reassures everyone that the monster hasn't arrived yet. But suddenly out of nowhere, the water monster emerges from below and seizes the companion, pulling him underwater and devouring him, leaving only blood in the water. The monster hurls the companion's head towards them. The sight leaves everyone in a state of distress and fear. As they try to defend themselves, the water monster swiftly attacks another man, dragging him into the water, where he witnesses the gruesome demise of the man's head. Shui Sheng bravely tries to fight the monster with his sharp rod, but the creature's speed and agility enable it to evade the attacks effortlessly. Suddenly, the monster vanishes, causing everyone to be on high alert. Moments later, the monster surprises them by appearing on their boat, poised to attack Lan. However, something prevents the monster from carrying out its assault on her. Despite their coordinated attack with rods, the water monster miraculously survives once again, remaining untouched by their blows. Instead, he overpowers them one by one, inflicting severe injuries during the struggle. As he targets Lan, Shui Sheng intervenes, delivering a powerful blow that sends the monster tumbling far away. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Shui Sheng and his companions manage to trap the monster in a net after a prolonged struggle. However, the monster's incredible strength enables him to break free, escaping back into the water to evade capture. As night falls, Shui Sheng and his companions gather at his house to discuss the situation. Some propose ending the conflict, but one man decides to leave. Tragically, the monster ambushes and kills him as he reaches a tree. Following the terrifying incident, the monster finds his way to their house, making the situation even more perilous. The water monster enters the house and attacks what appears to be a human, but it turns out to be a statue placed intentionally to deceive him. Shui Sheng astutely observes the situation and communicates silently with his companions to close all the windows, trapping the monster inside. Despite a fierce attack with their weapons, the monster remains unharmed and agile, running on the walls like a monkey. He breaks through the wooden floor and emerges from where they were. Contrary to their initial assumption that he would weaken outside the water, the monster retains his formidable strength and goes on to launch an aggressive assault, lifting and hurling Shui Sheng's companions one by one. Shui Sheng bravely confronts the water monster, launching a barrage of arrows at him. As the monster reaches the designated spot, Shui Sheng cunningly traps him in a well-prepared cage, finally achieving the moment he had been anticipating for the past 10 years. Soon after, all the villagers gather at the scene where the water monster is securely locked in the cage. Some refer to him as a monster, others call him a water devil or a water monkey. They all come to the realization that Shui Sheng was right all along. The creature is not a god but merely an animal, a fearsome monster. Filled with admiration and gratitude, the villagers hail Shui Sheng as their hero, expressing their praise and appreciation for his bravery and wisdom. They celebrate him with resounding cheers and slogans. However, the uncle arrives, warns the villagers that they are making a mistake by supporting Shui Sheng's actions. He fears that it could lead to disastrous consequences for all of them. However, the villagers ignore his plea and remain unfazed by his words. After the successful capture of the water monster, the villagers prepare for a joyous celebration. The village chief decides to deal with the creature the next day and advises everyone to rest and enjoy the festivities for the moment. Amid the jubilation, Shui Sheng seizes the opportunity to propose to Lan, and she happily accepts, looking forward to a lifetime together. However, in the midst of the celebrations, the uncle discovers that the water monster has escaped from the cage. Before he can react, the monster swiftly attacks and brutally kills him. Despite the villagers' revelry, they are caught off guard, and the monster takes advantage of their vulnerability, slaughtering them one by one. In an unexpected act of bravery, Shui Sheng's mentally unstable brother confronts the monster, throwing edible items to taunt it, declaring his fearlessness. Despite his courage, the monster brutally attacks and fatally kills Shui Sheng's brother. As the morning arrives, the village is shrouded in mourning, with lifeless bodies scattered everywhere, and the air filled with sorrowful cries of loved ones. The immense loss leaves Shui Sheng and the villagers deeply saddened and filled with anger. They resolve to confront the water monster together and embark on rigorous training, honing their combat skills with various weapons. After days of preparation, the villagers stand united and Shui Sheng leads his people to the river bank to confront the water monster. Despite the danger, he ventures into the water alone and discovers numerous skeletons, evidence of the monster's previous victims. The creature looms before him, and Shui Sheng initiates an attack with his rod. However, the monster effortlessly disarms him, stopping the assault and violently ejecting Shui Sheng from the water. His companions quickly pull him back into the boat as the monster pursues them with remarkable agility. Once in the boat, the group launches a coordinated arrow attack, but the monster remains invincible, surviving each strike. The creature retaliates with overwhelming force, inflicting fatal injuries on some and tossing others into the water, injuring and even killing some of the villagers, including Shui Sheng. However, with combined efforts, one of Shui Sheng's companions and Lan manage to briefly restrain the monster. Shui Sheng seizes the opportunity, attacking the creature relentlessly with a knife, inflicting substantial injuries. Yet, the monster's formidable strength proves too much, and it breaks free, hurling them away. Witnessing Shui Sheng's dire state, Lan becomes deeply distressed, shedding tears for his safety. Despite sustaining injuries, the monster remains determined, advancing once more to attack. Lan bravely shields Shui Sheng from harm, and he delivers a well-aimed arrow, causing the monster further injury, sending it far away. Nevertheless, the creature refuses to be defeated, rising once again to confront them. Despite the efforts of two others to halt its advance, they are overpowered by its overwhelming strength. The monster continues its vicious attacks, harming and killing some villagers. Lan becomes enraged and tries to fight back with a piece of wood, but the monster strikes her, knocking her down. Shui Sheng, though injured, witnesses this and is filled with anger towards the monster. He remembers the loss of his father and companions, which gives him the courage to face the creature. As the monster prepares to attack Lan again, Shui Sheng bravely intervenes, holding the monster and shooting arrows into its chest. Driven by the desire to avenge his father, family, and the villagers, he relentlessly attacks the monster. Finally, he manages to break the monster's eyes, inflicting immense pain on the creature, causing it to suffer greatly. Shui Sheng manages to capture the monster, but during the struggle, they both fall into the water. Lan, witnessing blood in the water, fears the worst and starts crying, believing Shui Sheng has been killed. However, to everyone's relief, Shui Sheng emerges from the water, holding the severed head of the monster. The villagers eagerly awaited his return, and they were overjoyed to see him victorious. The movie story comes to an end with a mix of emotions, triumph, sorrow, and gratitude. Thank you for watching our recap. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and feel free to explore our other recaps.